Hi everyone, my name is Hawa. I'm the research officer from the Enabling Sustainable Emergency Volunteering Project for Work Package 2, Changing Management Practices. So really quickly, I'm going to give you an update as to what we've been up to with our project. So if it will let me present, that would be great. Great. Some updates that we had from our last teleconference meeting that happened in August last year is that we had at that point finalized the SES Cultural Assessment Tool survey report for the survey that we ran from 2018 to 2019. We were also at the time finalizing the follow-up survey that we were going to run from 2019 to 2020. We were going to present and participate in the AFAC 19 conference, and we had also tested and developed some of our SES recruitment materials. So what have we done since August of last year? So since then, we have presented and participated in the AFAC 19 conference. If anyone is curious and wants to read what we presented on, we actually presented on the culture of inclusiveness. So you can actually download our presentation slides and our paper from our project page. So I've left a little QR code that you can scan that will take you to go do that. We have also further developed and tested our SES recruitment materials. So bit of a recap. So for our recruitment studies, the purpose of what we wanted to do is that we wanted to use real data to create some content for SES recruitment materials that are attractive and appealing to potential recruits, that are accurate in representing the SES volunteering experience, and are also able to promote the diversity of roles and opportunities to potential recruits. So these are some of the recruitment messages that we tested. We got quotes from our interviews with our volunteers, as well as some pictures that depicted volunteers in both operational and non-operational roles. So we conducted a two-part study. So part one was a bit of a reality check where we tested the recruitment messages with 112 current SES volunteers to see how accurate they were, but also how attractive the messages would be to potential recruits. Part two was an external road test that we did with 453 community members or potential volunteers to see how attractive the messages were, but also what expectations were they getting from their recruitment messages. So based on the recruitment photo or quote that they saw, did they expect to learn new skills or be part of a team or help the community, for example? So from the 109 quotes and 40 photos that we tested, 61 quotes and 28 photos were deemed to be accurate by current SES volunteers and attractive by both current and potential volunteers. So what we did with these 61 quotes and 28 photos is we decided to build basically a recruitment messaging toolkit in the form of an Excel sheet, which allows recruitment officers and volunteer managers to basically customize their recruitment campaigns using this tool. So we presented this tool at the Western Australian Fire and Emergency Services Conference last year in September. So that's the QR code and the link that will actually take you to the tool and give you instructions on how to use it. But basically, this tool allows you to customize your recruitment campaign. So for example, if a unit is really passionate about teamwork, they can use this tool to filter out to the messages that don't signal teamwork. So you're left with the messages that do signal teamwork, and you can include that in your recruitment posters. So yes, if anyone is interested in using the tool, you can scan that QR code, which will take you to the Dropbox, which houses the tool and instructions on how to use it. So moving forward, some of the main aims for our recruitment studies is that we want to test the effectiveness of these recruitment messages in an actual poster that we designed. We want to test how effective they are in setting those expectations and how attractive they are to potential volunteers, but also how expectation setting and fulfillment will affect retention outcomes in potential volunteers. So part three, which we've just completed, is that we wanted to verify the expectations that some posters were setting. So we created 4 different posters setting 4 different expectations. So one of them, for example, was setting the expectation of being part of a team. Another one was learn new skills. Third was help my community. And fourth was do something useful. So we got participants to view these posters and write to us what they think or what they expect of their volunteering experience based on the poster. And we verified with approximately 100 responses per poster that the posters were setting the expectations that they were supposed to be setting. So part 4, we're still in the development and designing stages of this study, but we are planning to show participants one of the 2 posters setting either the expectation of being part of a team or learn new skills. And once they've seen the poster, we want to measure the expectation to see if that was set, and also the attractiveness of the opportunity. And then after that, the participants would then go through a 2x2 vignette design. So vignette is basically just a story that will simulate their first day experience as to whether or not their expectations were met or not met. And then from then on, measure outcomes such as expectation fulfillment, intentions to remain, and their satisfaction with their experience. So aside from that, we've also finalized the follow-up SES survey reports, and we've analyzed the findings. So I won't go through all of the findings because there's quite a bit to get through, but I will attach a one-page infographic sheet which summarizes all of the findings from our 2019-20 survey findings. So at the bottom here as well, you will also see a bit of a comparison between the findings from our 2019-20 survey with our 2018-19 survey. So you can have a read of that. So the full survey report for our 2019-20 survey will be out on our project page very soon, but the 2018-19 one is up there if anyone wanted to have a read of it. And I've left the QR code for you to scan, which will take you to our project page. So lastly, we've also started developing our final CAT survey and user guide instructions. So what that basically is we have basically created user guide instructions to help empower and assist end users like volunteer managers or district officers in being able to assess the state of volunteering in their individual BGUs and or districts using the cultural assessment tool survey that we used. So to help with that, we've produced 3 documents. The first document is the full final CAT survey as volunteers would have seen it online and on paper. Some user guide instructions, which contains the survey measures, giving you a brief explanation of what these measures were, what they would be assessing, and why it would be beneficial to include it in your survey. Some tips on survey setup and administration, so which survey platforms to use, how to set it up, all that good stuff. And lastly, ethics, so how to conduct a survey in an ethical manner that volunteers would feel safe to participate in. So lastly, we've also built the CAT data analytical tool, and this is what I'm most excited about, and I will be giving a demonstration on this very soon. But the idea behind this is that an end user who goes away and decides to customize and create their own CAT survey may not necessarily have the means to be able to analyze the results and know what it means. So we've decided to create a data analytical tool to help with that. So we've got in the tool the survey items that it'll be able to analyze. It's got formulas built into it that will analyze your results for you. It'll give you a snapshot of your results, and as well as interpret and give you recommendations on how to improve it. So really quickly, I'm going to switch screens and show you what the tool actually looks like. So when you open up the tool, this is what you will see. So you get a tab that lists all of the items that the tool would be able to analyze. So for example, let's just say that a volunteer manager wants to assess why volunteers continue volunteering with their service and or unit. So these are the items that they can include in their survey. So the only thing that an end user would have to do to make this tool work for them is that in this data sheet that you see here, which actually is quite massive, but just for example purposes and demonstration purposes, let's just say that a volunteer manager wants to assess reasons that volunteers stay. The only thing that they would have to do is just copy and paste the results into the corresponding columns based on the items that they have included in the survey. So once they've actually, for example, copied and pasted the results into here, basically the tool does everything else for you. So if you go to the reasons to say tab over here, you can see here that it's generated the output. It's got the specific items, the average scores for each of the items, the standard deviation, as well as the frequency and percentages as well. So the frequency and percentages of how often the participants actually responded to each of the items on the scale for each of the survey questions. And it also gives you a little handy graph here, which summarizes your results. So each of these tabs correspond to each of the survey themes that you'll find in the CAT survey. So volunteer needs, volunteer identity, like how strongly volunteers identify with their role or the unit or the agency, their well-being, so like role satisfaction, unit support, so looking at leader behaviors and social support from team members, and so on and so forth. So we do have a results overview tab here, which gives you basically a snapshot of your results, looking at the specific themes, the average score, whether the score was high, medium, or low, what did that results actually mean, and recommendations on how to improve it. So this is all very, it changes with your results. So for example, if this was a low result, the table would update itself. So The only thing that a person would have to do is just copy and paste the results, and you get all of this. So if somebody were to actually use all of the survey measures that they can and put it into this file, you can also download the data output in one go as well. So this tab, for example, allows you to print the data output on A3 sized paper, but I also have one that's catering to A4 size as well. Yeah, so that's the tool. So hopefully if anyone has any feedback or recommendations on how to improve it, I am all ears on that. So the last thing I'm going to be presenting on is, if it decides it wants to let me play, that would be great. 2 seconds. Okay. All right, next steps. So the next steps for us is we're going to finalize the CAT user guide, instructions, and data analytical tool. Since we can't actually present and participate in the APAC 20 conference, we are going to be recording some, we're going to be giving out some recorded PowerPoint presentations, giving you research updates on what we've been up to. So expect that from us very soon. We're also going to deliver an integrated report on effective onboarding, and we're also going to submit a journal article basically telling you all about our volunteer recruitment studies. Yep, so that's what's coming up soon. If anyone has any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to me. You can always contact me via email and or phone. But yeah, so thank you so much for listening to me talk for the last, was it 10, 15 minutes? And I hope you have a nice day. Thank you so much.